As a fellow ENFJ, I know you're pretty imaginative, maybe even a little bit of an overthinker.
Yeah,
We mentioned it before, but this is your first time in Korea, right?
absolutely.
But before ever stepping foot in Korea, what were your expectations going into things? What did you imagine Korea to be like?
I feel like my vision of what Korea is like probably has evolved over the years. So at this point, I'm not going to give you I thought the streets were going to be filled with idols on every corner, celebrities at every cafe. But as someone who has only experienced what Korea is possibly like through media, I still had a very romanticized vision of it, right? Beautiful, fashionable people everywhere, amazing food. Every street we were going to walk on was going to be a sight to see, street food everywhere, K-pop playing, skincare clinics, you know what I mean? That was still my vision of it.
I mean, to some extent, that is kind of the case.
It actually was, yeah.
Yeah, so has our trip in Korea lived up to your imagination and those expectations?
Well, to keep it simple, before we dive into everything, I would say this trip was everything I wanted it to be. In many, many ways, it was so much more than I thought it could be. And in some ways, it gave me a more realistic sense and understanding of what it might be like to actually live here rather than just vacationing just because we were here for so long.
Yeah, 5 weeks, right?
5 weeks.
Well, coming up on the show, Justin and I will recap our adventures from this month-plus long trip in South Korea. Welcome to Diaries of an MZ Generation, where we discuss Korean culture, music, and entertainment. This is episode 11. I'm Ellis Tan, and today is Friday, March 21st, 2025. Joining me, as always, is my friend and co-host, Justin Lee. How's it going?
Physically, my body is ready to go home. Go home, recover, rest, sleep, get back to some semblance of normalcy and routine.
Yeah, we spoke last week about how your body was deteriorating in front of my eyes. It's even worse now.
There are good moments and bad moments, but despite that, my mind is very sad. I could use another couple of weeks in my mind, especially because the Stacy comeback was pushed a little bit, which meant we only got to experience the very, very beginning of it. But I'm also grateful for what we did get to experience.
Yeah, it's been quite a trip. Been a long few weeks for sure for you.
Yeah.
And we're recording this episode basically on the final day. Justin is leaving in maybe about 12 hours. When this episode is out, he may be on a plane. And we wanted to just recap our adventure, this long 5 weeks, and really get into what it's like being in Korea for the type of stay that we had, an extended stay as somebody who's experienced like me and somebody who it's their first time like Justin. I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation. So for today, we're not going to be discussing any particular current news topics. Instead, we'll be going over what our daily lives have been like here in Korea and reviewing the various experiences we've had, ranging from food and culture up to K-pop and entertainment. But before we begin, why did we even come to Korea in the first place? So Justin briefly mentioned it a little bit earlier. He spoke about seeing Stacy and how we're catching just the beginning of their comeback. We're not really getting the chance to experience the full comeback cycle. But before we get into why we came to Korea, Justin, I need to know, why have you never visited Korea before?
That's a good question, especially for someone who's been a K-pop fan for as long as I have. I think I was just always saving Korea for, that big trip. I didn't want to just go for a few days, for a week. Maybe I was saving it for an event that would pull me into Korea. You know what I mean? Another reason was I might have also been thinking about going with my family. My sister is also a big K-pop fan, so waiting for her to be ready for a trip might have been a reason. It always got, pushed further and further off. Yeah, other than those things, it probably just waiting for that big thing. Maybe, Big Bang announces, we're doing one final concert, and that's going to be something I couldn't miss, that I would have to go to Korea for, or I would regret it forever. Besides those, there was never really a reason for me to rush into a trip to Korea. It was always, I have time, it could happen down the line. So yeah, I knew a good reason would bring me here eventually.
And was the reason good enough this time?
Yeah, Stacy is always the right reason.
So let's get into that. We started planning this trip in particular because Stacy, the K-pop girl group, actually released a 2025 roadmap, essentially outlining their plan on their comeback schedule, when they're going to tour, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And on that schedule, they were going to be making a comeback in February of 2025, right?
Yeah.
So me, being the person I am, told Justin, a bunch of our other friends, hey, I'm going to go to Korea in February for Stacy's comeback. Are you in or are you out? That's essentially how it went down, is it not?
It's how it went down. And man, you went last year for Stacy as well during their anniversary in November.
A very spontaneous trip.
A very, very spontaneous trip.
I mean, even the comeback was spontaneous.
That was also spontaneous.
Quite a bit of surprise that they came back with that GPT comeback.
I really wanted to go, but that one, because it was also, you were only there for about a week, right?
I was only there for the second half of their comeback cycle.
Yeah. So I thought, man, I don't want to force this one. But like you said, the roadmap got put out. We knew when their comeback was going to be. It was months away. So now Ellis put this out there. Hey, I'm going to go for the comeback. We have enough time to plan, to prepare. This is the one. This is it. We're going to Korea.
Right, exactly. And somehow the stars aligned. A few of our other friends were going to be in Korea at the same time. We convinced a couple of our other friends to also come with us around the same time.
Yep.
But there was a bit of a scare during our planning stages.
Yes.
The moment where the president of South Korea, they instituted martial law in the country of South Korea.
I remember going straight to our group chat and just asking, what's the plan here, guys? What's the move here?
Yeah, I was like, just put everything on hold. And thankfully, it only lasted, I think it was like less than 12 hours.
Yeah.
In total, it was 2 days, but it was probably less than 24 hours. And right now, Korea is still going through...
We're still seeing the effects of that.
Yeah, there's still a lot of political unrest, protests, things going on in regards to the president. But it calmed down enough for us to be able to move fully forward with our travel plans.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, essentially, we came for Stacy, but my dates were pretty locked in. I knew I had a window to be in Korea, and I knew even if something happened with the Stacy comeback, whether it was in the beginning of February, we were thinking it was going to be in the beginning of February.
Yeah, we were concerned.
We were thinking that we'd miss the entire comeback promotion.
To put in perspective, our trip was mid-February to mid-March. So their comeback being beginning of February means it's wrapping up as we get there.
Yeah, we would pretty much just miss almost everything.
Yeah.
But I knew that, again, it was my window. And regardless of whether Stacy's comeback was going to happen or not, I knew it was going to be a good time. And I think you guys felt it was going to be fine even if we did miss Stacy's comeback. Am I right?
Mostly right, yes. But I would have also been very, very sad if we missed Stacy.
Yeah, of course. Because that was one of the focal points.
The driving forces to go.
Yeah, exactly. Well, unfortunately, their comeback got delayed instead. And now it's happening at the end of our trip where we ended up missing the latter half of their comeback cycle.
They came back 3 days before I leave.
Essentially. But we were still able to catch them for a few events. And the rest of the time we were in Korea, we still had a lot of fun sightseeing, doing a lot of activities.
Amazing.
Working even. And yeah, just a lot of unbelievable memories made during this trip. So we'll be going over the highlights, and we'll start with really just all the different experiences that we've had that, probably unlocked some core memories.
Yeah, we have so many core memories in this trip over the last 5 weeks.
Right. So coming up, we'll start talking about the highlights of this month-plus long Korea excursion. So the first thing that I want to talk about is essentially when people tour a country, most people will go sightseeing, right? I guess there are different types of travelers.
Yeah.
Some will really just relax a lot.
Yeah.
Some people will be like planning from morning to night. For us, we didn't have a set plan.
Hmm.
We had a checklist.
We did.
We did hit pretty much all of the sightseeing attractions that we wanted to go to. We did the Namsan Tower, Itaewon, the main palace, Gyeongbokgung Palace. We also checked out Insadong, which was right next to the palace. We ended up walking down the Cheonggyecheon stream, ended up in DDP where we did some haggling and shopping. We also did shopping at like COEX and Gangnam, Hongdae, Myeongdong, Songsu. We even got kicked out of the Bukchon Hanok village.
Amazing memory. Amazing.
So for you, Justin, what were some of your sightseeing highlights? What really stood out to you on this trip?
Just going through the things that you mentioned, I think Namsan Tower was great to see. And it was cool because, you know, after we saw it, you kind of notice it everywhere else we go. It's just always in the background, in the sky, some, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the iconic, really figure point of Seoul.
Yeah. So it was cool to see that. You know, not just being at the tower itself, the journey getting there was a memory because, you know, taking the cable car up that mountain was really cool. Buying a lock, writing something on the lock, like you see everybody do, adding it to the famous, you know, wall of locks across the fence, taking pictures so we remember where it is next time we go back. Hopefully it's there.
Tell me the truth though, Justin.
Okay.
It was you, me, and another one of our guy friends. You would have preferred to be with a girl on a romantic adventure there, wouldn't you?
You know what, Ellis? No. Okay. I wouldn't trade that lock for the world.
We basically put the lock as a bromance type of friendship lock on Namsan.
But if I take a girl up there, this is my first time doing it, okay?
Well, technically, if you go up the tower, it would be your first time.
That is true. Saved an experience for later.
Yeah, I told the guys, we're not going up the tower unless you guys have girlfriends.
Yeah. Latte World was not as big as I thought, but man, that was a fun day.
That was actually my first time at Lotte World.
Really? Okay. Because you were the one that told us about renting out the school uniforms, wearing it to Latte World.
Well, that's just like, if you grew up in the Korean culture, like I did, that's just one of the things.
Yeah.
You just know. So we dressed up in the school uniforms.
Yeah.
And we just had a great time at Lotte World. There's not really a lot of rides there.
There's not really a lot of rides, but the rides that we did go on, they were fun.
Yeah, we did the two main attractions, which was, I think, Atlantis and French Revolution. They have a few other rides. They're mostly like screen rides.
Mm-hmm.
But we also did the bumper cars, which I feel like you have to do. And we did the hot air balloon thing.
Oh, yes.
But we went to Lotte World at a really cool time because they are doing a collaboration currently with Pokemon.
Yes.
Pocket Monsters.
Yes.
So the hot air balloon ride was actually, they converted it into Pokeballs.
Yeah. I thought we were so lucky that we were here at a time when they were going to do that.
So it was such a cool collaboration and event. And they actually pulled out a lot of stops to make this really immersive. There was like Pokemon everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They had some cool activities. They had a parade specifically for Pokemon. And again, like I said, they really put in a lot of work on making those Pokeball hot air balloon things for the ride.
They were really nice, yeah.
Yeah, so it was just a really great experience. We took pictures in front of the carousel.
Yes, of course.
The famed carousel.
Of course.
Now, whenever you see the idols post school uniform pictures in front of the carousel, you know, hey, we were there.
There was another moment during that Latte World Day that made it really, really memorable. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So hanging out with the boys wasn't memorable enough for you?
Oh, no, that's memorable. Let's go put another lock. Let's go. But we were in line for
French Revolution.
And one of our friends...
It was Nason, Internet's Nathan, Another shout out. What is this, 2-3 episodes?
Yeah. Shout out to that guy. He pointed out to us, he's like, guys, I think that's an idol. one of our other friends had his doubts. That's
There's no way
There's
that's
no way.
her.
look at her nose. Look at her eyes.
Well, to be fair, she was looking down.
She was looking down and
Most
he
of the
was
time.
waiting for her to look up.
She was looking at her phone or doing her makeup or something.
Right.
But Nathan, eagle-eyed, immediately, once he saw her, knew who it was, told us, and we were really just back and forth about it. Like, is it really?
It was a discussion.
Is it not? We went to check her stories. Of course, they're not going to have the stories up to that minute, right?
No way.
So all throughout the queue, which was about like 50 minutes long, right?
Yeah, long queue.
Keep in mind, we were in queue for 50 minutes and this idol was about 10, 15 people behind us. And, we were having our banter, we were playing games, but also we were thinking, is that her?
Yeah.
No.
There's
No.
no way.
No way. Random Thursday at Lotte World?
Yeah, why would she be here?
But we went on the ride.
We went on the ride.
Or it was a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
So they had the cars and she was on the same train of cars. And when we got off, Nathan, I think, right, decided to ask,
Yeah.
are you so-and-so?
Yeah, so I was walking with Nathan. He was, trying to decide if he should do it. I said, let's do it. He runs up, asks her if she is indeed who we think she is. And she was just so taken aback. It was indeed who Nathan thought it was, to a T. She seemed so happy that we stopped her and showed her some love. And we all took pictures, talked to her a little bit. Nathan was able to talk to her a bit more and connect through that. And man, it just made, the day was already fun, but that made it so much more memorable, so much more of like a core memory.
Yeah, it was just a really cool experience because, like you mentioned earlier, there's always these like romantic thoughts about, oh, you just run into an idol on the street or in the cafe. And again, this is like my 12th time in Korea. This never happened to me. And of course, the one trip I'm out with the boys, we run into one.
We ran into one.
We've run into multiple idols this trip.
Do you remember the first day? We were walking the streets of Hongdae. And the very first day, what happened? We see a group of fans outside waiting. All of a sudden, an idol group walks right by us.
Yeah, there's a bunch of women
Yeah.
and girls hanging out in Hongdae. And we decided, hey, let's just check out what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, no one was showing up, so we ended up walking around a little bit. But we came back, and yeah, a male idol group walked right by us. It was super cool.
That was so cool. The first day, it was the morning. We didn't even eat anything yet.
We literally got off the plane, and the next day, idols.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. But man, what a way to start off the trip. What a way to kick it off. Set the momentum.
But going back real quick to the Lotte World thing. Yeah, so we met an idol, and she was with her friend, and she's also an artist herself. So that was super cool too. I got introduced to a new artist and, wish her the best of luck in her career. And yeah, I'm a fan of both of them now as well.
Yeah, they were so nice. Of course, school uniforms weren't the only thing we dressed up in. We went to the palace, as you mentioned.
Yeah, Gyeongbokgung Palace.
Yes. And one of my favorite parts of the K-pop calendar year is when Lunar New Year comes or Chuseok, because idols start posting pictures in their hanboks. And now I had a chance to wear one myself at the palace. I loved it. Took a bunch of pictures. There was a lot of people there.
Yeah, so for the hanbok situation, if you've never been to Korea, and if you have been to Korea, you'll know there are a lot of hanbok rental stores right outside of the palace area.
Yes.
And it's hard to choose, right? There are some more popular than others. Some have a better location than others. Some are big on TikTok.
Yep.
Right? You were telling me about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that we kind of explored a little bit, looked around, and we got called into a shop, they're trying to attract customers.
Mm-hmm.
But we walked in and it was a really great experience. And the quality, I think, is what kind of separates the shops. Maybe some have newer hanboks. Maybe the styles are different. Maybe some of the styles are better. Some of the styles are more authentic or this or that. But also the service.
Yeah.
I felt that because we walked in a little bit further, we got way better service than some of our other friends. We actually ended up all splitting up.
Yeah.
We all kind of went into different hanbok stores, but Justin and I kind of went on our own.
Some of our friends knew what they wanted, and they just went straight in, got it. We were exploring the quality, the options.
We didn't really know what we wanted,
No.
but we settled on this store and we
Mhm.
settled on these specific set of warrior hanboks. And it was amazing. It was really cool.
Really cool. It was a newer shop, so our handbooks were actually newer. You know, they helped us with everything, putting it on, tightening it up,
Yeah, we even rented the shoes.
rented the shoes. I wasn't gonna do it, but man, it looked great. So
I was like, I'm going to rent the shoes. And then I convinced Justin to do it. And then we sent the pictures to our friends. And then our other friends were like, all right, we got to rent the shoes too. And the pictures came out great.
yeah, they were so cool.
So yeah, I highly recommend if you're checking out the Gyeongbokgung Palace or any palace really, any area where there are a lot of those hanbok rental type situations, you know, maybe venture in a little bit more. Maybe don't necessarily just follow what's trending on TikTok because you might find a hidden gem. You might get better service. And honestly speaking, as far as pricing is concerned, they all pretty much ended up the same.
Yeah,
Once you add accessories and this and that, it all ends up being about 50,000 won.
yeah. Some places are gonna just throw all that in together, so their prices look a little higher. But some places they kind of separate those things, so you think you're getting a better deal, but you're not really.
Yeah, because like they add like every little thing
Yeah.
is another 5,000 won, another 3,000 won.
Yep.
Next thing you know, it's 50,000 won, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So don't focus on the price, focus on the shop.
Yeah.
And don't be scared to get in there a little bit more.
Also, right after the palace, we visited Insadong. That was a really educational experience. Ellis was telling me all about the stores there, the storefronts, how a lot of them are written in Hangul. So like the Starbucks was written in Hangul, the GS25, which is usually just the letters and the numbers, right?
Yeah, it's the convenience store
The
here.
convenience store, of course. So it was a different experience to the scenery that I have gotten used to at that point.
Yeah, they tried to focus on maintaining that Korean culture.
Yeah. It's a place where you can get a lot of the more traditional snacks, handmade goods, souvenirs, things like that. I got a wallet, like a hand sewn leather wallet, which I'm going to be using a lot. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, I got some jewelry from there.
Yeah. So it's not like a huge area, but it's obviously, like I said, you were explaining Insadong to me, right? So that wasn't your first time.
Yeah, of course. But it had been actually a very long time since I went to Insadong last. Insadong is kind of a touristy spot. It's just a short road with a bunch of stores that appeals to tourists. But again, you mentioned the handcrafted area. That place is actually called Samjigil, and it's basically a road or a building where there's just a bunch of vendors who sell handmade goods. It's also where you can get the poop bread.
Yes, the poop bread.
Right.
That was
So
great.
we had some poop bread, and we're going to be talking more about food later, but that was just kind of a small snack that we had in Insadong.
Just a small nugget, if you will.
Oh my God. Yeah, so Insadong, I do highly recommend it if you have never been to Korea. Again, the last time I went to Insadong was when I first went to Korea.
Wow.
A very, very, very,
Did it
very,
change a lot?
very, very,
Very, yeah.
very long time ago. It didn't change too much, but honestly, my memory of that time is a little bit foggy.
I mean, that's a lot of varies. Yeah.
But I will say, when I was walking down that street, it was like walking down memory lane.
That's cool.
I remember my friend telling me
Yeah.
about these Hangul storefronts.
Yeah.
And now I'm telling it to you.
You paid it forward.
Who knows? Maybe 10, 20, 30, maybe when you're here with your sister,
Yeah.
maybe you'll be explaining it to her.
I'd be like, let me tell you something about these storefronts here.
Exactly. And there's just a bunch of cool stuff in Insadong.
Yeah.
I actually went to, they have a record store, or it's not a record store, it's a record cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do there is you buy a drink and you pick out a record and you sit down and you listen to the record while you enjoy your drink. That was a cool experience. I do recommend that.
That sounds great.
They also have some cool stores, like they have a really crazy GS25 in there. So again, GS25 is the convenience store, but they turned it like super futuristic.
Yes.
They have like robots and stuff in there that makes food,
Making pizza.
ice cream,
Yeah.
cotton candy.
Yeah. That was crazy to see.
Insadong has, it's kind of one of the main tourist attractions in Korea. They even have the Insa guide
Yes.
I think it actually made news a few years ago about how unnatural it could be.
This was also a discussion amongst our group.
She seemed real,
Right.
but also seemed like it could be not real.
Yeah.
We couldn't really figure out if it was a real person or not. But they have the official Insadong guide. I think I can't remember what they call her, but they have these boards where you can plug in some information and it'll give you some recommendations on what to do.
Yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about is actually, it's quite an adventure, quite a story. It has to do with our visit to the Bukchon Hanok village.
Yeah, I briefly mentioned that we got kicked out.
Yes. Do you want to describe what that is before we get into our story?
So the Bukchon Hanok village or Bukchon Hanok Maul is a traditional Korean village.
Mhm.
Essentially, it's just a neighborhood that is located near the palace. And it's really famous on Instagram as a photo spot
Yeah.
because you can get these photos with houses, these hanoks, which are the traditional Korean housing. And it's beautiful, right? It's traditional, it's old school style, but it's also mixed with the modern architecture.
Yeah.
And since it's on a hill, it's overlooking a lot of the city. And in the distance, you can see Namsan Tower,
Yes.
which is, what we discussed earlier. It's one of the focal points of Seoul. So Bukchon Hanok Village is really popular for tourists to go to and take pictures. Well, because it's so popular, there's real people who live there, right? That's part of their daily lives. They leave and go to work, come back home, want to enjoy a peaceful night, go to sleep, etc., wake up, go back to work, right? Go on with their day to day. But at a point in time, I guess it just got invaded with tourists because it blew up on social media, right?
Yeah.
So people were taking pictures all day, all night. That's what I'm guessing. I wasn't there. But they instituted a curfew. No tourist activity from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, I'm a photographer. And one of the most important things in photography is catching the right light. And we have a thing in photography called golden hour. And golden hour is typically 1 hour after sunrise and 1 hour before sunset. Well, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. doesn't really fit that schedule.
Yeah.
So here's me convincing Justin, hey, let's get up before sunrise, get to the village, and we'll just try to keep quiet.
For me, this is my first time in Korea. Why would I pass up this opportunity? So we wake up super early in the morning, probably like 5:30, get ready very quickly, leave for the village. It was cold. We'll probably mention that several times in this podcast. It is very cold in Korea. And I'll just fast forward to when we got there because Ellis was being super quiet. Very, very quiet. And he just mentioned that it's a residential area as well, which is why, you have to be quiet. But at that time, I didn't know, right? I didn't know that. I thought he was just being quiet because it's the morning time. Why would we be making all this noise in the morning? But no, it's because it was a residential area. And I realized that because when I looked around, so many signs telling us, hey, this is a residential area, tourists and anything like that. You can only be here from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. At this point, we weren't even close to 10 a.m. It was, what was it? It was 6:30 in the morning. No wonder he was walking on eggshells. So we explored the village at this time because we're waiting for the sun to get to the right point, right? And what was your impression of the village as we were exploring it for the right photo spot?
This is a lot smaller than I expected.
Yeah. It was a lot smaller. The spots to take those specific photos that you're talking about to get the right architecture with the right landscape in the back, there aren't that many places to do so.
Pretty much like 2 spots, but really only one good one.
2 spots, one good one. So we figured that out really quickly because again, it's very small. But once we figure out exactly where we want to take the picture, a truck parks right where we want to take it. A man comes out, starts gathering trash from house to house to house. We have no idea how long this is going to take. The sun is moving rapidly.
And it didn't seem like that truck was there all the time. Like it didn't come in every day. It seemed like that
Yeah.
truck was just there that day.
Yeah. Either we're unlucky or this is like there's tourists around blurring out the truck.
Well, let me tell you, anytime I want to get photos, I'm pretty unlucky whenever it's my turn to get photos.
But after what seemed like forever, the truck finally leaves. We rush in. Ellis frames it up. We take as many as we can. But while we're changing the views out of the very limited options that we had, I spot a man. Again, this is a hill, right? So I see a man at the bottom of the hill. He's getting bigger and bigger. He's looming. He's coming. And I'm like, Ellis, there's a man coming. You didn't react. So I didn't know if you heard me. I didn't know if you cared. What was going through your head?
So I heard you.
Okay.
I knew what was happening. I was just trying to play it cool.
Yeah.
And also just really not make a fuss.
Yeah, right. Like Ellis said, he's playing it cool, packing up his stuff. So I was like, okay, so we're like leaving this place. But it was like a horror movie at this point, right? So the guy is getting closer and closer. I don't understand how he's moving so fast at the pace he was walking. But he starts gesturing. He's like waving us away. So now I'm like, Ellis, he's waving us away.
This guy, Justin, keeps pausing. I'm like walking as fast as I can.
Yeah.
While not looking like I'm scared.
Yeah.
But I'm scared because there's a penalty, a pretty hefty fine, a fine that I would rather spend on goods and merchandise.
I didn't know about the fine. The signs that I kept talking about, I guess I didn't read them very well. I didn't read them very clearly. So the guy's approaching us. We're walking. Like Ellis said, I turn around every once in a while. He's saying something and waving us like, Ellis, I think he's trying to talk to us.
And I'm just like, let's get out of here, man. Let's get out of here.
All right, whatever. So we go. Later, Ellis talks about the fine, and it's like, oh, okay. All of that makes sense. The whole situation makes sense now.
Yeah, I just didn't want him to stop us. It was what I assume to be a typical ajushi. There's the neighborhood patrol.
Yeah.
Some volunteers who take it upon themselves to patrol their neighborhood. And he was carrying some type of banner. I didn't really want to make eye contact or look at him, so I didn't actually read what the banner said.
Yeah, my bad.
But yeah, again, it's like your typical neighborhood watch type of character who they don't really have much else to do, so they volunteer their time and they want to uphold the law, I guess, in their town. And, I respect that. I didn't get fined. We didn't get fined. So I'm completely fine with that. We got basically all the pictures that we wanted because, again, there's not really much pictures to take.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, was that it?
Yeah, good time had by all.
Good time had by all. I'm sure the gentleman who was shooing us away also had a great time.
He was like, hey, some action today.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, hey, looking back on it, it's a great memory.
At the time, I almost pooped my pants.
My bad.
Not really, but yeah, it was a little scary.
I think one thing you didn't mention when you were kind of summarizing the all the sightseeing and tourist spots that we visited was the Naksan Park Seoul Fortress Wall.
Right, that one is pretty famous for being in a lot of dramas, actually. Pretty scenic, aesthetic.
Yeah. This was around the beginning of my sickness, so the walk up that mountain was the steep mountain was not great for me. On the way down, do you remember we saw an older lady taking her what seems like a daily stroll, but she was going downhill backward, and we were confused, but we were also gassed. So we're like, what is she doing? But at the same time, let's give it a try. And I just want to say to whoever you are out there, you're a genius. The walking backwards downhill, that's a game changer. So much easier. That's a lesson for me, everyone listening. Listen to your elders, just like the patrol guy, just like the mountain lady. They have wisdom beyond our years. Do you have any other memories from the wall?
Yeah, so you mentioned that walking backwards part. Yeah, I mean, it was really steep. Really steep. And I felt a little bad for Justin and the other guys because they were all getting sick. I'm pretty much the only one who's made it through this entire trip.
I don't understand.
At like 99% health.
I don't understand.
But yeah, pretty much all of our friends had some issues at one point or another. But yeah, so Naksan Park, which contains the Seoul Fortress Wall, is, like I mentioned, in a lot of dramas.
Mm-hmm.
But just like Bukchon Hanok Village, a lot smaller than I expected.
Yes.
Once you get to the part where they show the wall in the dramas, it's a lot smaller than I expected.
Yeah, we weren't sure if we were even at the right spot.
Exactly. And it wasn't until like I went to the photo spot
Yeah.
and took a picture and then compared it to the pictures in the dramas that I realized, oh, I think this is it.
Yeah. But it was cool to see. There's a lot of workout equipment on the way up.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
were joking like you get your cardio going up and down the hill and then you get your resistance training on the machines.
Your payment is you making that trip.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was great to see. There were younger people there shooting TikToks and stuff and going on dates and walks. So it was a cool scenery besides me just coughing my way up and down.
Were there any other highlights on the trip for you?
Actually, yes. This next one I'm very excited for. Same night, a walk that I didn't mind, and that was to Costco. Costco in Korea.
We actually planned to go to Costco in Korea before we even got to Korea. We were like, all right, who has a Costco membership? We're going to Costco.
Yes.
We got to experience Costco in Korea.
We'll say it didn't disappoint. It was a very unique experience compared to what I'm used to back home.
For me, it was pros and cons.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have some things that I would have liked that were in America,
Mm-hmm.
but they also had a ton of stuff that I wish we had in America,
Okay.
like Korean skincare.
Oh, yes. That's one of the main reasons we went there, because we knew that they sold the skincare in bulk.
Like they do have some Korean skincare in Costco in America, but not like they have here.
No, yeah.
And like the snacks, the Korean snacks, the Korean food, just some of their displays were incredible. A lot of really delicious looking options.
And you know what? Probably what a lot of the listeners are wondering, the food court. What's the food court like? The main item differences were the bulgogi pizza, the tteokbokki, and not a chicken bake, but a bulgogi bake.
Is it like they make it like bulgogi, but it's made with pork?
Yeah. So I think we got all of those. We got the hot dog. What did you think about the hot dog?
Okay, let me preface this by saying every time I go to Costco in the United States, no matter where it is, I always get a hot dog.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, $1.50? You get a hot dog and a drink? It's well known that the hot dog drink combo at Costco is a lost leader for them.
Yeah.
They're losing money on it. But for decades, it's been $1.50.
Yeah.
So
They refused to change it.
I had to get a hot dog and a drink.
Yeah.
So here I am in Korea, where generally speaking, like 90 to 99% of the food is amazing here.
Yeah.
So good, relatively a lot cheaper.
Yes.
And here I am at Costco in Korea, about to get my hot dog. I'm smiling. I'm dancing. I'm jiving, ready to eat my hot dog. Unwrap that sucker, and I am just in shock.
Yeah.
It looked terrible.
Hey, sesame bun though.
Sesame bun. I was curious, and of course, I put my condiments on it.
Yep.
Took a bite. Quite possibly the worst hot dog I have ever had in my life.
He was not having it.
I rated it a 1 out of 10. I still ate the entire thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably the worst hot dog I've ever had in my life.
Well, besides the hot dog, the disappointment, what did you think about their pizza and their bake and their tteokbokki?
Yeah, so the pizza, I'm not actually a bulgogi guy. I actually don't like bulgogi.
Really?
I don't like how sweet it is.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
But the bulgogi pizza, the clear winner.
It
For
was
me,
good.
I rated it a 6 out of 10.
It was good.
It was the best out of all of the options that they had
Mm-hmm.
that we tried. The tteokbokki, I would rate it right in the middle. Average taste, actually a really good value for the size that you get because it was really inexpensive.
Yeah.
And there's completely stuffed.
Yeah, there's a
With
lot of things
rice-
in there.
Yeah, rice cakes, fish cakes,
An
eggs.
egg. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Surprisingly spicy.
yeah,
Like a nice cake.
it was a decent taste.
Yeah.
So I rated it a 5 out of 10. And the bulgogi bake, the pork bake, just below average. It wasn't bad. I didn't have it fresh, so that might
Yeah.
affect the rating. But yeah, that was not bad. But
Yeah. I think generally in all those things, I pretty much, my opinions line up with yours. I don't think I hated the hot dog as much. But then again, I was sick, so I don't know.
I'm a hot dog connoisseur.
Yeah, he's from New York. But speaking of gigantic warehouses, structures, multiple levels, COEX was one of the must-see things that I had on the list.
Yeah, so COEX is one of the most well-known, I would say, malls in Korea. And I feel it is as much of a tourist attraction as it is a mall.
Yeah.
Because it contains the very famous Starfield Library.
Of course.
But also, a lot of K-pop related events will happen there or around that area. And of course, just shopping. Just a lot of shopping, a lot of food. It's a store. It's a mall.
Right. Yeah, I think the big Starfield Library was the main reason I wanted to go there. Everyone takes pictures there. It looks so nice. So I want to take pictures there as well. But honestly, at the time we went, there were so many people. So I was a bit overwhelmed. The library is cool, but if you're going, I do recommend, go very early when the less people are there.
Go right when the mall opens.
Yeah. Especially if you want pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to go, but it had been already, like week 2 or week 3 of the trip. And our wake up times were getting later and later every day.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we didn't hit that opening time, but we still got what we wanted.
So COEX is in Gangnam. And Gangnam is kind of a hard topic to just touch on because there are different parts of Gangnam. And Ellis was kind of explaining to me the different parts of it. We went to Apgujeong, we went to Shinsadong. But you told me, especially some of the streets we were walking on, some of the very significant streets that you haven't been there for a very long time. And you were showing me the historic kind of where things were. A lot of the entertainment buildings were there. So how did it feel kind of going back there after a very, very long time?
Yeah, so Gangnam, I guess the real estate is just like really ridiculous there because a lot of companies moved out. There was one point in time where pretty much all the major labels were in Apgujeong, that Apgujeong area, and they actually even made this road because there were so many companies on there. They called it K-Star Road.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it doesn't really make sense that they call it K-Star Road. And they have like these statues there that are from like second gen.
My second gen heart was going nuts. I loved it.
Right. But again, a lot of these media companies, these entertainment companies, they moved out and it's pretty much just replaced with luxury brands.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because Shinsadong was that spot. It was like the Beverly Hills of Korea. And a lot of luxury brands were there. And now it's just completely dead. There's like nothing there, really. Yeah. Not much.
Yeah. Before we came here, I did hear a lot about Gangnam as the Beverly Hills. Very general. They just kind of Gangnam, not the specific areas. And I will say that the vibe kind of changes when you get there. The people kind of carry themselves differently, I feel. The stores, maybe a little fancy. Just the Starbucks was a little fancier that we walked in. So yeah, it feels different when you're in Gangnam.
Yeah, I mean, Gangnam is huge. It's also where a lot of the office buildings are. And we went to pretty much all the various parts of Gangnam. Do you have like an overall impression of the area? Because generally for me, I rarely ever go to Gangnam. Okay. Again, this is like my 12th time in Korea. There's been trips to Korea that I've had where I don't even go to the south side of the Han River. And Gangnam is on the south side. There's just not really much for me personally to do there. Again, it's like mainly a lot of office buildings, academies, plastic surgery clinics, luxury brands, but you can get luxury shopping in other places too.
Yeah. I thought I wanted to go. Like I wanted to see it.
I wanted to take you.
Exactly. It was cool like learning about the streets and you were telling me about everything. Let's say we go on another Korea trip. Is it a must? Do we have to stop by Gangnam next time? I don't think so. Like you said, there didn't seem to be much to do there, especially during the day. So maybe there are a few things I would make an exception for.
Well, COEX, again, does host K-pop related events. There's a huge K-Town for You tower over there, right?
Yes.
So that would be a reason to go to Gangnam.
Yeah. One of the exceptions, of course.
The last thing I want to talk about here are a few neighborhoods which we spent a lot of time in. Hongdae, which is actually where we stayed as far as lodging goes for the entirety of this trip. Myeongdong, which is really well known tourist and shopping center, really central location in Seoul. And Seongsu, which is the up and coming. Really, a lot of brands are moving there. A lot of pop-ups happen there. That's where all the trendy stuff is happening, Seongsu. Do you have any memories that you want to share about any of these locations?
It's just interesting to me that all of these distinct areas that you just mentioned, they have such different personalities. When we go to Myeongdong, it's very lively. It's kind of what I picture if you ask me to just, what do you think you're going to see in Korea? Oh, just shops, street food, K-pop playing, skincare around, bars, food. Myeongdong has all of that in a very condensed area. So I would definitely recommend people at least stop there. It's kind of a cool sight to see. I always love going to Seongsu. It just seemed like like you said, it was very modern, very hip, a cool place for people to hang. The cool brands are there, the cool pop-ups. There were a lot of K-pop pop-ups that we went to in Seongsu. So yeah, every time we went to Seongsu, I really enjoyed it, just kind of being in the area. And then Hongdae feels like home, man.
I mean, it was our home for the last 5 weeks.
Exactly. I now have a special place in my heart for Hongdae. In the 12 times you've been here, you probably lived in different areas. I know you said now it's like mostly Hongdae for various reasons, which is why we live in Hongdae as well. But just walking those streets at night, getting tanghulu or getting breakfast, going to a mega coffee, getting gelato, I love it. I love Hongdae. I can see why you like it. It's close to things. It's close to the subway.
Yeah, it's close to the subway.
Yeah.
Close to the airport. There's always a bus that goes here if you miss the last train.
Yes.
There's always something that's open, something delicious that's open.
Yes.
And yeah, there's just a lot of things to do here. Really, the only con, if you can call it that, in my opinion, of Hongdae is that a lot of the buildings are older.
I can see that.
So it's harder to get good lodging, nice lodging.
Mm-hmm. I think we got pretty lucky. I think we got a pretty nice place this time.
So not only did we hit up all the typical tourist attractions and neighborhoods and sightseeing spots, we also hit up some of the K-pop company buildings. We're big K-pop fans.
Yes.
Been K-pop fans for a long time. And I knew that Justin had kind of set out on a journey.
Yeah.
It was like Mecca, right? He wanted to come home and see these various entertainment labels, the big four.
I had to.
But we also visited a bunch of other companies, right? So obviously the big four, SM Entertainment, HYBE, JYP Entertainment, YG Entertainment. But we also visited a few smaller agencies like Starship Entertainment. If you can call them small, technically they are smaller. We visited Mod House, KQ, WM, and of course High Up Entertainment, where our beloved Stacy resides. And a bunch of other ones, honestly. I can't even remember. We visited so many. RBW. Was it everything that you had expected?
Well, a few of them we kind of just passed, right? You mentioned HYBE. We kind of just passed.
There's nothing really to do there.
Yeah, we couldn't really do anything there, so we just kind of passed it. WM, we just kind of passed.
Also nothing really to do there.
Yeah, Starship, we just kind of passed.
Nothing really to do there.
Mod House.
Nothing really to do there.
High Up Entertainment is just, it's special. And we got to see their Stacy plushies on the window. I thought that was so cute.
But nothing really to do there.
No, but they had a very nice convenience store connected to it.
Oh, true. Yeah, I was on the first floor.
Yeah, loved that. But the ones that stood out to me were, first of all, let's talk about Cube. Cube had a cafe that we stopped by.
Yeah, actually, the Cube Cafe, I stop by there every time I'm in Korea.
Yeah, I remember you telling us, no, we have to go to the Cube Cafe. And this time, Minnie from Idol just promoted solo. So when you get there, it's huge mini posters on the wall. It's kind of decked out for her. The big screen in there was playing her music videos. And I got like a drink set that came with a lot of goodies, a photo card. So I had a great time there. And I don't know if you remember this, we may have also seen some idols there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We did. Nowadays.
Okay, well, I mean, I wasn't gonna say it, but I won't confirm or deny. How about that? I won't confirm or deny.
I'll confirm. It was nowadays.
I want to mention JYP, but not too long because it's one of those where there wasn't much for us to do.
Yeah, because they closed their cafe.
They closed their cafe, unfortunately. The outside of the building looks great. It's huge. The lights, the blue lights that come on at night.
Looks exactly the way it does on YouTube.
Yeah. To me is cool. But I do want to talk about what we saw today, SM Entertainment. For some reason, man, when we passed by SM, when we finally got there and I looked up and I realized we were here, I was in awe. I don't know why this building, out of all, maybe it's because, SM's part in K-pop history.
Very storied legacy.
Very storied legacy. So, man, looking up at that logo, that SM Entertainment, the way the building is kind of patterned is very distinct. So I was in awe today when I looked at that building. But for SM, we did get to do something. We got to go into Kwangya, right? What was your impression of Kwangya?
So this was actually my very first time at the new SM building.
Yes.
I had been at the old SM building, but not since they moved quite a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they opened up Kwangya, which is essentially their gift shop. Right?
Yeah.
So Kwangya is their gift shop.
To put it very simply.
Yeah. But once you get inside, it was crazy.
It was crazy.
There was anything and everything that you can possibly dream of as merchandise.
Yes.
And for every single group, for every single member.
Yeah.
And they had so many things, so many photo cards.
So many photo cards.
If I had a bigger wallet, I would have dropped so much money.
If this was in the beginning of our trip, that would have been bad.
Yeah. And it's just a really cool store.
The way they set it up is really cool. Yeah.
A lot of interesting memorabilia, fun items to look at.
Yeah. Cool photo booth to a very expensive photo booth.
A very expensive photo booth with not really many features,
Yeah.
but we still did it.
We still did it.
So we have their Kwangya pictures. But yeah, it just, again, the shop was insane. There's so many things.
Yeah. I could have bought a red velvet Wendy umbrella. I was kind of considering it. There were so many, just bag straps of any artist you wanted.
They had bath bombs.
They had bath bombs. Oh my
Artist
gosh.
specific bath bombs.
Yeah, it was insane. And I feel like walking in there, I understand like why SM are in the place that they're in within the industry. Like they are not doing it like other companies. I see why they're so closed off, why Kwangya is a thing, why they want to be in their own universe. And within that universe, you can get lost. There's so many good groups, so many good artists. Like you can just stay in SM and be just an SM Town fan and you'll be good to go. Like that's what they want, right? And I can see that so clearly now.
It was almost campus like. It was like
Yes.
attending a corporate or a school campus,
Mm-hmm.
like Apple Park
Yeah.
or a university campus where outside the building, there's a bunch of SM related things happening too.
Yes. Birthday cafes, which were beyond any birthday cafe that we visited this trip.
Yeah. So Rise, Anton's birthday is actually, I think it's actually the day of this podcast. And they had an incredible layout set up for him. Loved every bit of it. Took a lot of pictures, took a lot of videos.
Yeah.
Just super cool. I've never seen a birthday cafe that decked out.
It was nice. It was so nice.
But yeah, SM, just super cool experience. Highly recommend it if you are a K-pop fan to check that out. If you only visit one entertainment company, SM Entertainment is the one where there's a lot to do.
Yeah, that might have to be the one. Like, even if you're like, I don't know, you're a JYP fan or whatever, there's only so much you can do at some of these buildings, places. Sometimes you can't even go in, right? So you can just look. But SM, it's an experience.
But as a YG fan, you didn't have anything to say about YG?
Oh, I was saving that.
Oh.
I was saving it for last because you take a shot every time I say this on the podcast. But, Big Bang got me into K-pop. So seeing the YG building was very special to me.
They have a very unique building.
They have a very unique building. So it was special because one, in my early K-pop days, I was very YG family. I was very, Big Bang, 21, even 7. 2, they had a cool cafe as well. Not in the building, like across the street from the building, where we could sit. We had some nice waffles and ice cream. We sat by the window, just you eat out with a view of the building itself, right? It's just like watching in awe. But the thing that made it super special to me when we visited the YG building versus the other ones is that the new YG building, the spaceship looking one, it's built right next to the old one. So I was able to see the new building where Blackpink will now go, where Treasure are there, Baby Monster are now doing their stuff there. So it's cool to see present YG. Man, and all I have to do is turn my head a little bit and I see the building where Big Bang was created, where 21 trained, where those things happen that shaped, the fan I became. So it was a very similar feeling to when I looked at the SM building. It's like, man, this is a part of history right here, right? When I looked at the YG building, I felt a very similar emotion. This is part of history. It's a big part of my history in a way. Like a lot of things came from this building that shaped who I would eventually become. So yeah, the YG was probably the most memorable one to me.
Yeah, so definitely saw a lot of things on this trip. A lot of highlights, I would say. Another highlight that we had was we were able to film a few YouTube videos while we were here. One for our friend Paul Becerra's channel, Rice Squad.
Shout out to Paul.
But we were also able to film a music video, a K-pop music video. Have you ever filmed a music video before?
No. This was my first experience filming a K-pop music video, and it was in Korea. Well, first of all, filming this gave us a chance to go outside of Seoul a little bit. And man, did we go outside of Seoul. I think we went farther than we thought we were going to, right?
This was quite an adventure.
It was a trek. We basically went into the mountains.
Yeah, it was about an hour and a half maybe from Seoul by taxi.
Yeah, we had a bunch of equipment in the taxi.
We rented out this huge taxi van. They call it the Venti.
The Venti. Yeah.
The Venti taxi. And yeah, the first guy that we got, he knew what was up. We had so much equipment. We had 6 people. So we had to get all this equipment and 6 people into this van, but he had a plan. He was a man with a plan.
It was early in the morning too. Like,
What was it, like 5 a.m.?
Yeah. And once we got there, it was so cold. There was still snow on the ground. And that's when we knew we are in it today. We are in for a challenge today. But the filming itself, how did you feel about the filming itself?
It was a challenge.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like with all filming aspects, especially outdoors on location, having to deal with the elements.
Yeah.
The sun moving.
Yeah.
But we had some unexpected issues as well. They were playing a full match of soccer or football right next to our filming location.
So early in the morning. We weren't just in the middle of the mountains, right? So we were actually at the Donga Institute of Media and Arts, or DIMA, right? So it's an actual university, which is why we were next to a soccer field with players, probably just scrimmaging, warming up, playing some games. And when you're filming, you always got to expect things are not going to go right. But the second we got there, even just the backdrop we wanted was not right. Just immediately we are hit with a problem, right? But like any production, we work it out, we find solutions. So a lot of the memorable things to me during that was, problem solving, but also just shooting with an idol, shooting with dancers, trying to make sure they're comfortable, trying to make sure the idol's comfortable. Luckily, the people we were working with were very cool, very understanding, very professional. So yeah, it was an amazing experience. Very cold and hard at the time, but looking back, you can't pay for this kind of experience when you go to Korea.
Yeah, like going to Korea for your very first time, going into the mountains, into this university that's an hour and a half away from Seoul.
Yeah.
Shooting a music video, your very first K-pop music video as part of a crew, and having this dynamic between talents and crew and working together and trying to make this vision happen.
Yeah.
Unbelievable memory.
It doesn't sound real when you say it. You know what I mean? It sounds like a dream, but it happened, and I'll take it with me forever.
Yeah, incredible. And yeah, just a really great day spent.
Yes.
But it was kind of funny on the way back because the taxi driver on the way back. We booked the same type of van,
The venti.
but the guy was not set up for 6 people and he didn't know how to get our stuff in.
Yeah.
So we were really fortunate that on the way to Dima, that the guy kind of prepared the blueprint for us to figure out how to
so
get
we
there
knew it
and
could
get back.
work. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, it was a great day of filming.
Unforgettable.
The last thing I want to talk about is we also got to enjoy the Korean cinema experience. We saw the brand new Bong Joon-ho movie called Mickey 17 featuring Robert Pattinson in theaters in Korea.
Yeah. Hey, all I have to say about this, how cool is it? Like you said, as big fans of film that we are, we got to experience Bong Joon-ho's newest film following Parasite, right? In Korea. I won't say too much about the movie, but yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Next topic, Ellis.
I'm not going to let it go, Justin.
Next topic, Ellis.
So, how did you enjoy your $10 nap?
Oh my gosh. I tried so hard.
You saw what, like 30% of the movie?
I would say so. Because later you guys were talking about a specific thing in the movie. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Oh, that's in the movie that we all just watched.
So you're saying the Korean cinemas are just so comfortable.
That's what I'm saying. I know there are theaters here that are super, super comfortable. Some of our friends were telling us about it. I feel like we got kind of a regular theater.
Yeah, we got a standard experience.
Yeah.
I was personally hoping for a more Korean cinema experience.
Yeah.
We basically got the standard screening, and it ended up being pretty similar to like what a standard screening would be in the States,
Yeah.
except it's a little cleaner.
Less stickier. But I will say, I do want to defend myself here. Before the movies, we went out to eat, had a couple of drinks. Another thing is, I probably ate something there I wasn't supposed to eat. That probably made me even sleepier. Probably a lot of factors. Probably up till then, my sleep was decreasing at that time. So in the movie, I started falling asleep. And, these guys would wake me up once or twice, and I think they just gave up at some point.
Yeah, I think after like the third time I turned around, he was asleep. I gave up. But it was a great movie. Again, I wish I was able to experience the Korean cinema experience that is raved about, where they have the special chairs and you can lie down completely flat, or maybe there's like a table and like couple booths and things like that. There's actually a lot of various types of Korean movie theaters.
Yeah.
But I realized it's actually really difficult to get into one of those cinemas. I think you'd have to do like a pretty far in advance
Like
booking or
reservation.
something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something that we could save for the next time. But you did mention food.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get into our food adventures. If there's one thing that I would come to Korea for the rest of my life, it would be food.
Oh, yeah.
I love food.
I love food.
And I love Korea.
I love Korea.
And I love Korean food.
I love Korean food.
And we did not hold back. We ate a lot of food.
So much.
I'm just going to list down all the things that we ate, as much as I can remember. And let's get right into it.
Please.
Jeju black pork, samgyeopsal. We had burgers from one of my favorite burger spots, Space One. We had salmon noodles, what they call yono kalguksu, or salmon noodles here. It's basically like sashimi salmon that was cut and sliced into noodle form. We went to the Majang meat market and had delicious Hanu beef, which I would liken to something like a A5 Wagyu. We had miyeokguk for Justin's birthday. Korean pizza. Of course, Korean pizza, if you don't know, is quite different from American pizza or Italian pizza. Of course, we had to have Korean fried chicken and beer, barbecued eel, lamb skewers. We went to a place called He Said Yes, where we had some amazing pasta. Earlier, we mentioned that we filmed with an idol. That idol took us to a chukumi restaurant, and the guys had chukumi for the first time in Korea. We also, on the way to Namsan, had the Wang Tonkatsu, or the King Tonkatsu. We also went to Itaewon and had some great food there. Itaewon is very well known for their international cuisine. probably one of my favorite spots. We went to have gopchang, but it was not just regular gopchang, it was Hanu gopchang. We even had what they call second round or icha. After the Mickey 17 movie, we went out to get nabe at an izakaya place, which was open like until 5 a.m. Of course, Baskin Robbins is well known in Korea. But for those of you that don't know, the Baskin Robbins in Korea is pretty different from what we have in the States. They have some really interesting flavors. I had one called Mom is an Alien or Oma는 외계인. Highly recommend that flavor. We also had dakgalbi a few times, of course, with the fried rice and the mozzarella cheese. Sundaeguk is a staple late night meal. We had suyuk, which is like boiled pork. We had Korean sashimi or hue. We even had live octopus or sannakji, which was a really interesting experience. And of course, pastries. We had salt bread. Salt bread is really famous in Korea. We had some of the best salt bread that we can find here. We went to Isaac Toast, had some great breakfast at Isaac Toast, and we even checked out the highly popular London Bagel Museum. And as a New Yorker, where we are well known for our bagels, I was pleasantly surprised that it was pretty good. I would probably rate it along the lines of the average New York bagel. We also had delivery food. We had delivery Chinese food, or technically it was Korean Chinese food. We had delivery pasta. We had delivery pizza. Out of all these different things that we ate, I think I just spent like 5 minutes listing all the different things that we ate. Did you have any standouts? Anything that really stood out to you? Some favorite restaurants, maybe something that you would highly recommend to our listeners?
First of all, let's talk about this burger place that you took us to. You said is one that you like to frequent when you're here in Korea. So I was really interested. What is it about this burger that makes it so good when we can get burgers anytime in the US? You know what I mean?
It's an American food.
Yeah, exactly, right? So why are we spending our time getting a burger? But I will say we went there more than once because it is so good. It is so good. It is ran by what seems like one guy. And that just kind of blows my mind. And I feel like it's going to be a kind of a running theme from my favorite places or favorite memories. It's the places that are ran by just one, two people, setting up everything, preparing everything, cooking everything, helping you with everything, cleaning it. Like it just kind of blows my mind that there are these places here in Korea where it's not a team back there. You don't have a team of dishwashers. You don't have a team of cooks. You don't have cashiers in the front. It's one, two people working, doing everything, right? And this burger place was one of those. And I don't know how he does it, but the burgers are so good. We went there twice. Again, the second time we took even more people with us. They loved it. And speaking of the guy, we talked to him. He's so nice. He talked to us. I got to tell him his place, is one of my favorites on the trip. That made me happy to be able to tell him that. But yeah, I have really fond memories about that burger place in Korea.
Yeah, so for me, it's not just about the location. So it's in Hongdae. Not just about the price. It's really inexpensive. It's like less than $8, maybe $7, maybe $6, around $6 to $7.
Yeah.
For a full burger set meal.
Yeah.
But the flavor of not just the burger, but the French fries is among the top tier of burgers that I've ever had, barring like full-on restaurants like Gordon Ramsay's burger.
Yeah, I know it sounds weird. Like, man, go to Korea, try this burger place. But you really have to try. You understand it. You get the vibe of the place. It's great.
So you loved it?
I loved it.
You loved my recommendation?
I love that recommendation.
What other restaurants did you like?
Another one that you said you like to frequent and became probably my favorite place when I think about it, maybe of the entire trip, is the salmon noodles that you mentioned.
It's so funny because the first two things that he lists, it's actually funny because it's also a couple of my favorite spots.
Yeah.
A burger place, an American burger place in Korea, and the salmon noodles, which is a variation of a Japanese dish.
Yeah. I will say though, the memory might be romanticized in my mind. It was my birthday. The day was already, on a high. Even just the highballs we got right off the bat were so good, which set me on this highball frenzy for the rest of the trip. Anytime there was highballs available, I gotta get it, see if it's as good. I just got highballs because of this place. The salmon was delicious. There were a few things that we shared so that we could try a lot of things, and everything was so good. The servers were so cool. One spoke English, and there only so many people can fit in there in this restaurant. So I think it adds to the atmosphere of this place. It's a lot more intimate. So I was having a really good time there. I was having such a good time, and maybe this was the highball speaking in my mind, but I saw a guy walk in by himself, and then I saw a girl walk in by herself. And by the middle of the meal, they were chatting it up. And by the end of the meal, they left together, right? So in my mind, this place is so magical. This place is so good. The drinks are good. The servers are cool. And people are just falling in love right in front of your eyes. That's how good this place is.
Yeah. So actually, this is probably my favorite place out of all the places that we've visited. It's a place called Yeonhadong in Hongdae. Give me one more restaurant that you really loved.
Oh man, one more. There's so many, but I gotta mention something that's very Korean, right? So let's talk about the meat market, the Hanwoo meat market. That was also on my birthday, but I thought it was such a unique experience along with the meal that we had. So basically, you go there, you go to the meat market, and there are multiple vendors all around trying to sell you their premium sets of Hanwoo beef, and you're just kind of going down this, what would you call it, alleyway, right? Just trying to discern the quality of the meat, the pricing, what you're getting, what you want, and they're all trying to sell you on their own sets. And then once you settle on what you want, we took that set of beef, of Hanwoo beef, and we took it to a place that was right there, where they set you up with all the sides, the drinks, the grill, right? You just bring the meat that you bought from the market, and you eat it there. And that not only was the food amazing, but it was such a cool experience. I said there was a lot that I didn't get to mention. So what were your favorite restaurants?
Yeah, so probably my top restaurant, you mentioned it, I mentioned it. It was the salmon noodles place, Yeonho Kalguksu at Yeonhadong. Another one of my favorite restaurants in the past, I think it may have been replaced this trip, was the burger place that you mentioned first. But now I think there are a couple of new places that I want to add into my top three. So again, the salmon noodle place,
right,
is probably still number one.
So good.
1A, 1B.
Yeah.
The other 1A, 1B is the Hanwoo Gopchang place.
Oh, yes.
Gopchang is one of my favorite foods. It's a comfort food for me. And anytime I can get good gopchang, it's great. It's amazing. Because it's hard to find a place that does good gopchang.
Yeah.
In Korea, maybe it's easier. I think it's a lot easier in Korea. But man, this one place that served the Hanwoo gopchang, a place in Hongdae called Daesung Gopchang, amazing.
So good.
We waited an hour to an hour and a half. We actually stopped by that restaurant twice before.
Yeah.
One time at 10:30, about an hour before they closed, they said they were sold out. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Popular place, late at night, sold out. We'll come back.
Totally.
Came back a couple days later, 8 p.m., prime dinner time, right? Maybe a little bit late for some people. Went in there, sold out. Wow, this place is popular.
Yeah.
Finally ended up going there. We get there around 6:30 p.m. Waited about an hour to an hour and a half. Finally got to taste this epic gopchang. Amazing. Probably one of my favorite meals of the entire trip. This is actually the meal that you had before you fell asleep. It was just that good.
It knocked me out cold. I remember that first bite we all took, and we all just kind of fell back into our chairs. I remember that moment so distinctly. We're like, oh my goodness, this was worth the wait. This was worth going there, getting rejected, going there, it was too good.
The last restaurant that I want to mention is one that we went to today. It's located near the RBW Entertainment Building, a place called Chukumi Dosa. So again, I mentioned earlier that we did have chukumi actually with the idol that we shot the videos for. But this particular place specializes in what they call nakgopse. So in Korean, nakgopse, nak is for nakji or octopus, gop is for gopchang, which are intestines, and se is for seu or shrimp. This place does a little variation of that called chugopse, which is chukumi, gopchang, and seu or shrimp. And man, today we had that. It was actually on the show How Do You Play that UJ Suk hosts. Saw his autograph along with
Yes.
Lovely's Miju and Jinju. And man, that food did today, amazing.
Really good.
Immediately skyrocketed
Yeah.
to my top 3.
Yeah, you were telling me as we were reading.
Yeah. I could be a little bit biased because I do love gopchang. But yeah, it was just an amazing experience. For you, is there any other experiences? Because it is your first time in Korea again. What experiences did you have at any of these food places that you want to mention?
First of all, I'm glad that we had Chukumi with the idol that we worked with, because from that point onward, anytime a Korean person asked us, where we're from, what are we doing, what have we done here, what have we eaten, every time I used the answer Chukumi, they would get taken aback. They were just so, oh, really? Right? It was such an interesting answer to them.
It's not something that foreigners really go out and look for, I think.
Yeah, I can tell, right? So I love giving that answer. I think I did have an interesting experience with the seaweed soup that was also on my birthday. I feel like all the places I mentioned were on my birthday.
Yeah, so typically in Korea, on someone's birthday or at the start of the year, because everyone's age changes at the start of the new year,
Yeah.
they will have miyeokguk
Yeah.
or seaweed soup. So Justin said, I want to have miyeokguk for my birthday.
Yeah.
So I took him to get miyeokguk.
Yeah. And that was his perspective. Let me tell you the chaos that was ensuing behind the scenes, right? So on this trip, my birthday takes place, I think the first week that we're here. And then Ellis's birthday takes place a couple weeks later. And we were planning to surprise him with a few things. He mentioned Baskin Robbins. We were going to get him a cool cake that they had in Korea where it's a bunch of different flavors that you can try in one cake. That was going to be a fun surprise. We were going to get a gift for him. We were kind of scouting throughout the whole trip what he wanted. And we found a really good seaweed soup place. For me, I just wanted to kind of experience it. We can save like the good stuff, the good place that we found for Ellis, because he's had seaweed soup plenty of times. So let's for his birthday, let's do the good one. For me, I just kind of want to experience it, right? So I mention it randomly, just when we're out or something, just because thinking we're just gonna stop by the whatever door we pass next, because I just thought you just get seaweed soup anywhere. But no, we should have known Ellis better than that. You mentioned something and he's gonna try to look for the best place, and he's like, I found a place. And me and one of our other friends, we look at each other like, okay, cool. We're going to go eat seaweed soup. And as we're walking, we're looking at each other like, this is going kind of out of the way. We're not just stopping at some random place to get seaweed soup. We're taking the subway. Where are we going, right? We arrive there. We look at the door. We look at the signage. He happened to find the exact place that we wanted to take him to. Of course, you tell Ellis you want something, he's going to try to find the best, right? We get the seaweed soup. It's kind of funny. We'll show you the chats at some point, but you were really enjoying it. I guess it's a win. He really likes it. But we were messaging each other back and forth like, oh man, what are we going to do on his birthday? This is a huge fail. He was saying things like, man, I'm glad you mentioned seaweed soup. And I'm just sweating over here like, oh, great. Why did I even mention seaweed soup? Looking back, it's a funny story. It's a funny memory. But at the time, it's pretty nerve wracking. Just trying to enjoy the seaweed soup, try to figure out his birthday later on. Ellis, you had no idea what was going on, right?
I had completely no idea.
Okay.
I was so surprised.
We were in shambles.
When I came home from dinner. I got dinner by myself on my birthday because, long story short, there was only space for one person.
Yeah.
So it was a Michelin star restaurant and I really wanted to have a Michelin dinner for my birthday. It was the only one that was available. I booked it, had dinner, came back home. Nobody was there.
Yeah.
And I was sitting at the doorstep, messaging like, where are you guys? As I'm sitting there, maybe like 2-3 minutes later, I walk in. Apparently they had like the candles lit and everything for like that entire period. And suddenly they just start singing at me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're singing for me. They're singing at me. That's what it felt like. I was like, what is happening here? And then, yeah, it was just a huge shock. Yeah. So that was a crazy surprise. I definitely had no idea what you guys were planning.
Okay, at least we didn't ruin it because we told you at that time, right? Each one of us had a moment where we absolutely spoiled it on accident. But luckily you didn't catch any of that, or you weren't actually in the room at the time. So that's another like fun memory from Korea, just pulling out that surprise and giving Ellis that.
Any other food memories?
All my other food memories are like small things. So, just getting gelato every day. I remember when we were planning the trip, I jokingly said, I want to have a place or a vendor or something on the street food that just knows us. And when we go there, they know what we want. I want the huge, whatever. And the gelato place kind of became that.
It did become that.
Yeah. The lady that was working there was so nice. Usually we would be coming home from a dinner or something and we walk past it, walk in. You guys would, try new things. I try to get myself to try new things. I just got the same thing every time, the huge. And it was really fun too because we have to walk past that store in the mornings to get to the subway station. And sometimes she was there and she'd wave to us. So that kind of fulfilled that goal. And then, the salt bread. Oh, the salt bread. I remember you pointed it out in one of the early days. And we went back so many times for that salt bread.
Yeah, I think we had that salt bread like 5 or 6 times.
I never thought salt bread could be so good. But those are my food memories.
Hopefully we made some nice recommendations for somebody who's listening, could be coming to Korea in the near future. But I want to get into now really what sets Korea apart from other countries. What is Korean culture? I would say for Korean culture, one of the most important things with any culture is the language. You mentioned in a previous episode that one of your new favorite words was the word Mulgogi.
Yeah, beautiful.
Beautiful word. Beautiful
word.
Water meat.
Water meat.
Or fish. It means fish.
Yeah.
Was there any other phrases or words that you picked up that you find really memorable? Maybe something that is useful for somebody who might be going to Korea for the first time?
Oh man, I'm not gonna say them myself because I'm just gonna butcher it. It's very late right now. But I will say, if you are coming here, learn how to ask. Just learn the word where. Learn the word where, and then maybe the word bathroom. Learn how to say one more of something. It's kind of like a meme now, like 괜찮아, ting ting. But it's learn how to say like it's okay, or learn how to get someone's attention, like excuse me. But in Korean, because there's going to be a lot of times where you're trying to get someone's attention, but you're not sure how to do it. So learn how to get someone's attention, learn how to kind of apologize. Just, you're going to be bumping into a lot of people. I bumped into so many people.
Really? But in Korea, nobody apologizes when they bump into you.
That was one thing I wanted to bring up during this podcast. I bumped into so many people and I'm over here like, oh, sorry. Or like, oh, just some of the, but nobody blinked an eye. Nobody cared because everyone's just kind of packed together already. So they just kind of expect it.
It's a crowded city.
It's so interesting. I bumped into so many people. Nobody cares. So I guess you don't have to like apologize when you do that. But
well, sometimes I step on somebody's foot and I will apologize for that.
I bumped into someone and they apologized to me. So that was interesting.
I mean, that's also part of the Korean culture.
Yeah. That is. But yeah, just phrases like that. Learn how to tell a restaurant owner their food is delicious. That's always nice. Those are the things I'm going to try to cement in my mind more next time I go on a trip to Korea. Because I know those are going to be the things that I pull out the most. If Ellis wasn't here, oh man, we'd be dead.
Probably not, but yeah, I think you'd be fine.
Maybe.
I got through Korea fine without knowing any Korean, so you'll be fine too. But yeah, someone coming from USA, someone coming from a state like Texas where driving is pretty much everything. Point A to point B, it's all driving.
Yeah.
But in Korea, the public transportation here is really robust, very busy, and there's a lot of buses, a lot of trains. You're not really waiting too long for one train or another bus. How did you feel about the public transportation while you were here?
Oh man, at first I was loving it. I love the fact that almost no matter where I want to go in the city, I can get there through subway. I can get there through a bus, and at the very least, I can get like a Uber taxi or something, right? So it was so cool to know you don't have a car, you don't really need one to live here, right? So we've met some people in Korea, some new friends, and they go to work every day on a subway. They hang out, they go on a subway. Korea is a smaller country. Seoul is very condensed, right? So like we talked about a lot of areas, Seongsu, Myeongdong, Gangnam, right? It's not going to take that long to get to those places in a single day. You're going to be able to do it. When I started getting sick, that's when the walking, because with the subway, right, that means you're walking everywhere. I don't think I've walked more in 1 month than this month.
Yeah, my average steps when I go to Korea is around 20 to 25,000 every day.
Oh man. At first it was really cool. I think if I didn't get sick, I still wouldn't I wouldn't be minding it. So that's just a side note there as well. But yeah, in the beginning of the trip, the walking and stuff like that didn't bother me. Also, I like that there's a transportation card. You can either fill it up as much as you want. You can get what we got because we were here for a month, basically. I got a card that gave me unlimited use for 1 month. So I don't know what it's like. I don't know what the cost ratio is when you're living here. But when you're just doing a trip here, that was great. That was really nice.
Have you experienced public transportation around the States, United States?
No. So I feel like states that do have somewhat of a public transportation, like New York, right? I probably didn't spend enough time there to use it, or we drove. And where I'm from, we drive everywhere.
Right. Yeah, so some things I want to point out about the public transportation here in Korea. It's just so efficient and well run that they even have trains at every station at some parts during rush hour.
Yeah.
You really never waiting that long for a train. Everything's well displayed. You'll know when the train is coming. When you're using the maps like Naver Maps or Cow Maps, it'll tell you exactly when the trains are coming. It'll tell you the exact route that you're going to take. It'll tell you when it's arriving, when you're departing, when you're going to be getting there, which exit get on, so that you'll have the fastest exit out. So yeah, 100% the public transportation in Korea, top notch, among the best. I know you have not really much to compare it to, but I hope you enjoyed how good the public transportation in Korea is.
Man, it really makes me wish we had one back home, where I'm from at least.
As good as Korea's, you mean?
Oh yeah, that's asking for more, I guess.
But they'd probably make it as good as America's.
Is that a good thing?
No.
Okay.
Another thing that we did is we visited universities in Korea, mainly the Sky universities, Seoul National University, Korea University, and Yonsei.
Universities was actually one of the things I did not expect to visit during our trip. It wasn't part of the list. I didn't really hear you mention it when we were planning things out. But it turned out to be some of the places where I spent the most money on clothes. I don't understand how that works. It was cool seeing the big university here. The varsity jackets, that's kind of what I'm referring to. They were just so nice. And the prices you would pay for something like these back in the States would be astronomical.
Yeah, it's just really cool to be able to buy the merchandise that idols wear when they perform at the school festivals.
Exactly, right? And they make it look so good. The schools have different colorways to rope you in there.
You make it look good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Also, on a side note, our first visit to a Korean university, KU, there was also a huge political protest going on, which was my first at that point. So on that day, 2 first-time experiences in one go. Look at that.
One other thing that you got to experience while you were here is we had a night of karaoke, 노래방.
Yes.
Did that differ from your experiences in the States?
You know what's kind of crazy? The norabangs here, they had like the romanized syllables there for you and not just like the Hangul. So we were able to sing along a little easier. Those of us that didn't read Hangul,
Yeah, the TJ karaoke machines or TJ media machines that they use in a lot of these norebang places, as long as the norebang keeps them updated,
Yeah.
they're pretty standardized throughout the world.
Yeah. And that took me by surprise. We would say we're going to go to Norbang. I was like, man, what am I going to sing? And I just realized you said as long as they keep it updated, basically whatever song we wanted was there. G-Dragon's Power, which we mentioned in a previous episode, a fairly new song, that was on there. So it was a great experience. We were also 1 or 2 floors up. We had a big window. Our room had kind of like
It was like 2 floors.
2 floors. Yeah. So it was kind of the same experience, but very different at the same time. I'm not sure how to explain that.
I'll try to summarize it. The noraebang experience in Korea can vary wildly. There are rooms that are similar to the ones in the States, but then they have these really fancy ones like the ones we went to with the huge window.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could see outside the building. There's 2 floors. There were screens on the second floor, screen on the first floor. They were climbing up and down the ladder.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of these really cool, interesting noraebangs here. But another thing you guys did, I went home, but you guys got to experience the clubs. How did that go and how did you feel about that?
So you went home and we decided, because we were around the area where the nightlife kind of takes place.
Yeah, essentially I was like, I'm going to show you guys where it is,
Yeah.
but it's raining and I want to go home.
Yeah. So he showed us where it is. He went back. We stayed. We wanted to kind of, peruse around and just see, just get a taste of it. Man, it was crazy. It was crazy. At every turn, you have like these club promoters, I'm guessing, trying to lure you into their club. Like, hey, come on in, blah, blah, blah. And you just gotta kind of nod them off. It was raining that day, so everyone had umbrellas. That was kind of annoying. So once we did get inside a club, we were kind of wet already, right? One thing I should have known, but I didn't foresee was how smoky it was going to be in these clubs.
Like smoke machines?
No, I wish. That just literal smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I knew. I was just joking.
Oh gosh, people are just smoking everywhere, right? So it's a cool sight to see. There's a lot of these clubs are set up in a way where it looks nice. People are giving you drinks, or you're buying drinks. You're walking around. You're having a good time. You're dancing. I felt like the club got way more poppin' when they played K-pop music.
But there's very few clubs actually in Korea that play K-pop, and even when they do play K-pop, it's very sparse.
I also learned that K-pop doesn't get played that much in the clubs, besides a select few artists or songs. And then what really surprised me was that there are clubs, where people are trying to pull you in. And then there are clubs where no foreigners allowed. We would maybe stand in line. The usher guy would come down, either hear or see that we're foreigners, maybe ask us a question or two and realize that we're foreigners. He's like, oh, sorry, can't come in.
There weren't too many of those though, right?
Not too many, but like 1 or 2 instances that caught us off guard. So, in our minds, like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah, maybe I should have warned you about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't get scared if you're interested in the clubbing scene in Korea. Don't be scared just because you're a foreigner.
No. We were getting into plenty of places, plenty of bars, things like that. We stayed out a lot later than we thought we would, unfortunately, because when we got home, our clothes reeked of smoke.
I woke up, stepped outside of my room, and I thought somebody had smoked like 30 packs in the house.
We also theorized that might be where the sickness that kind of invaded our group, that might be where it spawned.
Ground zero.
Yeah. It may have laid dormant for a little bit and then...
I'm like 99% sure.
Except Ellis, because I guess he doesn't get sick.
I get sick. It's just, I was prepared. The Korean convenience stores, another cultural thing, just really well equipped with preventative measures. Prevent colds, prevent hangovers, a lot of stuff in the Korean convenience stores. And also remedies. Like I've been having Justin drink different things and it's helped a little bit, right?
Yeah, I will say they do work. Yeah, some of them do really, really work.
Yeah, just another Korean cultural thing that it's not really something that you'll find in the States. Maybe you'll find it in other countries, but as far as the States, I'm sure that it's not the same.
But yeah, the clubbing was cool. I will say, take my words, my experiences with a grain of salt. We didn't get to spend that much time clubbing. So I'm sure going even one more night will kind of enlighten my experience even more so. So yeah, that's something we need to kind of explore more.
Did you have any other observations that you wanted to talk about?
I think the bathroom situation is quite different. A lot different than what I was expecting. Even when we were booking the Airbnb and I have pictures, going there and seeing it and like using it, very different. The shower is quite different. At least the place we were staying, right? It's not separated from the sink and the toilet really. So when you're showering, everything kind of gets wet.
That's kind of the Korean bathroom style. It just makes it really easy to clean the bathroom.
Do you like it like that?
I prefer it like that because it's really easy to clean the bathroom,
Oh, okay. I think I'm just used to the other way.
where the bathtub or the shower is separated from the rest of the room.
Yeah. But also, it could be because we were living with a bunch of guys, right? So that might have changed my experience with it. Bunch of dudes. But it did make it easier to clean. You know, we weren't too worried about the cleanliness of the bathroom all the time.
I think you guys just aren't really slobs either.
Hopefully. No, I tried not to be.
Did you encounter a public bathroom? Well, first of all, public bathrooms, plentiful.
Public bathrooms are plentiful, but I feel like they're not as clean as I want them to be.
Depends on the bathroom.
It does depend.
Depends on the location.
You're right, because when we're in the nicer areas, the bathroom's really nice.
If you're in the mall,
Yeah. But regardless of cleanliness, bathrooms are plentiful, which is great for me.
did you encounter any squatting toilets?
I think so. I just don't think I knew what they were.
Okay.
But when you say it, I've encountered some interesting looking stalls. Those must be it.
Wow, okay. Interesting. So, how about the soap situation? Sometimes there's regular soap that you press the button and the liquid soap comes out. Sometimes there's no soap. But then there's bathrooms with bar soap on a
Yes,
stick.
On a stick. I did not like that. I did not like that because you just know you're touching something that somebody else has already grabbed, right? I mean, to me, that's just yeah. But I would take that over the no soap situation. You know what I really like though? Heated bus stop seats and heated floors in our Airbnb.
Yeah, the very Korean thing.
That's so nice. I remember one of our friends came home and he was waiting for the bathroom. He laid on the floor and it was just nice and warm and he fell asleep.
I've done that in the past.
Yeah, and I mentioned before, very, very cold in Korea when we were here. So when you got to a bus stop, sat down, and that seat was heated, oh, it felt great. That was a thing of beauty. Another small little thing is the buttons to push to open the glass doors. I really like that.
Yeah, I wish that's something that we had in the States. It would really save energy.
Yeah, because the door is just not just opening or closing or confused or whatever. When you want to go in, you click it, and when you want to leave, you click it again, right? So I thought that was really cool. That was really neat. One thing we learned that you told us during that clubbing day, right, was the umbrella rule. That is so interesting.
I'm not really sure it's a rule, but more of like, it just happens.
And understand a culture. Can you explain it the way you explained it to us?
So I don't remember if I was actually instructed this by somebody, but whenever you go into a store or a cafe or whatever, there's always just a bunch of umbrellas. And the way that I see it is you take one, you leave one. So if you need an umbrella, you take it. Maybe you come back and you leave it.
That is so interesting.
Only in Korea.
I left with one umbrella and I came back with a different umbrella. And the clubbing situation was interesting because everyone threw their umbrellas to the side. So when you walked out, just pick one and you go. That was super interesting to me. The next thing I want to talk about is like I guess safety. I remember when we were packing, I asked you, do I need a clear bag? Because in America, when you want to get into events, when you want to go into certain places, you need to have your things in a clear bag for safety reasons, right? So you can't conceal a weapon. In America, you can't, hide a gun or something like that. But when I messaged Ellis, he's like, no. But little did I know that was not the extent of it. Not only did I not need a clear bag, I could leave my bag on a bench, go to the bathroom, come back out, and it'll still be there. Our friend, on the day he was leaving Korea, we went inside a restaurant to eat, but the restaurant is a bit smaller. He had a bunch of luggage, so what did we do? We left the luggage outside of the restaurant. That blew my mind. We were done eating, come out, we grabbed his luggage, and he left. Insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like in Korea, people will go to cafes, laptops, iPads, cell phones, leave it on the table, go out for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, come back, it's all still there.
Yeah. Nobody is afraid that someone else is going to take their stuff. That's a luxury I don't know if I'll ever get used to, just growing up the way where we grew up.
And it translates to just how many nice things Korea has that we don't have in America. Like the photo booths.
Yeah. The photo booths are unmanned. But in these photo booths, you have to understand there's a bunch of sunglasses and accessories, props, and all these things in there that I feel like in America would just get taken very quickly.
Taken or vandalized.
Yes. It's mind blowing to me. A thing that's not so good that I didn't really pay much attention to, but I think toward the end of the trip started affecting me is the air pollution. You always hear that the air in Korea is not that great, the air quality, right? And there are a lot of places you go where they have signage displaying the air quality. And I don't think I really took it seriously until I started getting sick. And I feel like obviously a lot of things probably contributed to me getting sick, but I do think the air quality is one just because of the nature of my sickness.
Yeah, it's a huge problem here, very big. And Americans, like me, well, not me anymore, but like were at one point, take the air quality that we have in America a little bit for granted.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to go back home and take a deep breath.
I mean, America's not the best, but it's definitely cleaner, very clean compared to a lot of other countries in the world. And Korea is on the worst end, especially when the yellow dust comes. And that's a big thing here. And it's a serious problem. It's actually a factor for a lot of parents living in Korea. Like, do they want to raise their children? Because they're most affected because they're lower to the ground.
Yeah, that's crazy. We even encountered something today in the subway where you kind of walk over it. And what does it do? It kind of gets rid of the
yellow dust off of your shoes.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was super interesting. Just speaking about observations, I'll end on a good one. And that is just how beautiful people are here. I feel like it's something I noticed right off the bat. It's something I have always intended on bringing up in the podcast. But man, as K-pop fans, we hear about the Korean beauty standard, that Korea has a high beauty standard. When you come here, that's true. I feel like the standard for beauty here, I'm talking about guys, girls, everybody, right, is held to a higher standard here. And it kind of, I don't want to say forced, but it kind of brings everyone up because everyone is trying somewhat to kind of live to this because everyone else is doing it, right? So
yeah, double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword for sure.
A lot of pressure, especially on women.
I can't imagine being a young woman here in Korea, seeing all these things, hearing all these things and trying to live up to that. But just walking around, we see a lot of very, attractive people every day, just walking the streets, the subway, working the convenience stores, right? So I was kind of taken aback.
There's a reason that K-beauty, K-fashion, Korean skincare, that it's world renowned.
Yeah, for sure. It makes a lot of sense. But like you said, while it sounds like a good thing, it also has its very, very negative effects on society as well. So that's just an observation as well.
I know you didn't bring this up, and I feel like I know why you didn't bring this up, but you're a fan of flavored soju.
I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but yeah, back in the States, when we get soju, it's most likely a flavored soju.
Blows my mind.
You know what blows my mind? Here in Korea, no flavored soju.
It exists.
Right. But it's like...
Koreans don't like it.
Koreans think it's very weird.
Yeah. We were with one of my work colleagues.
Yes.
And she pointed that out.
She's like, it tastes like perfume.
And I finally had my, I told you, Justin.
Although this trip, you've won me over with the somek. That's how I like drinking soju now.
Yeah, this is, you either drink it straight in like a shot glass or you drink it as somek.
Yeah, you drink it as somek, eat some gopchang, fall asleep in a movie. That's how it happens.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's probably a ton of other cultural things and nuances and really things about Korea that we probably have missed. But I'm sure we'll get to it another time.
Yeah, for sure.
But for now, I want to move on to really one of the main reasons we came to Korea, and it's as K-pop fans. So being in Korea as a K-pop fan, you get to experience a lot of different things. First of all, the airport, Incheon International Airport. As an international fan, you see it all the time. The photos of the idols leaving at the airport. We got a chance to go to the airport and see Stacy arriving from one of their events. What was that experience like for you?
First of all, it was exciting. I finally get to experience and see what it's like for idols, like where they come out, where they go, how much security is actually around them, how many fan sites are actually around them, but also like what the fan site culture is. What do they do before the idols come out? What are they doing when the idols are there? Like, how are they getting their attention? How close are they? How close are they allowed to be? Things like that. So I was trying to take in so much information while at the same time trying to enjoy the fact that I'm seeing Stacy at the airport as well.
And it's so easy to get to and from the airport with the Airport Express, with the airport buses, relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, again, the transportation is unmatched.
You can maybe just stay at the airport like every day and you'll see somebody.
Yeah. You're going to require a lot of patience, but something's going to happen.
I wouldn't really recommend spending too much time there though, because it's not really a lot happens. They just walk.
It's super quick.
It's fast.
You were just trying to figure out, are they going to turn left or are they going to turn right? Because that changes things completely.
Another thing that we attended a lot of were birthday cafes.
Yes.
What was that experience like as a K-pop fan?
I thought that was really cool. I really enjoy the birthday cafe events. First of all, one of the cafes, we went there thinking the idol might come, right? So it kind of gave us a chill off day from, walking and sightseeing, which was obviously fun and why we're there. But just to have that day, just sitting there, getting things done, catching up on messages and emails and work stuff while feeling productive because like you were waiting for the idol to show up. I thought that was really fun. And it's cool to see whoever organized the cafes, the kind of effort they put in. They're taking out their own collected, merch and memorabilia and rare items, things like that. They're setting it up as best they can for the artist to represent the artist. We went to a few.
We went to a lot.
And I still really enjoy them. It's a cool way for fans to kind of do something for the artist. And it's also cool when artists show up, show their appreciation. And it's just kind of a more chill way to see your favorite artist outside of a concert or a music show or something.
We also got a chance to experience music shows in Korea. In particular, we got to enjoy a pre-recording for Stacy at M Countdown.
Unbelievable. My first ever music show, and it's M Countdown. For our particular pre-recording, it was before the song was even released, right? So in this particular experience, we got to hear the song before all the other fans got to hear it. We got to see their outfits. We got to see their choreography. The girls, in between takes, they would take time and talk to us. So Stacy, the Stacy part itself was really cool. It was so fun. I can't believe I got to see Stacy in that environment. It was cool to see them in a work environment. You know what I mean? Now the music show part itself, that was crazy. As a K-pop fan, watching music shows all the time, performances every week, multiple times a week. And now I get to be in that crowd, looking at that stage, seeing the cameras, seeing the equipment, seeing all the production, the built stage, all the effort that goes into it was incredible. And what blows my mind is the amount of work, not just setting it up, but during the recording itself, right? There was a part in their performance where confetti blows. And so like all this sparkling confetti blows on the stage. It gets all over the stage. It gets all over the girls. And in my mind, I said, they're already doing this on the first take. They're going to be doing more takes. What are they going to do? Like, are they just going to dance with confetti on the ground? Like, what is the move here, right? It turns out they just brute force it. They remove all the confetti off the stage. The girls come down, they monitor themselves, which probably at the same time they're getting all the confetti off of themselves. And they do it again and again and again. So that is so interesting. And then I got to experience like the moving camera, not one that's on a crane or anything like that. One of the cameraman, the videographers, he goes up with a steady cam. And that was cool to see him figuring out the choreography, figuring out his movements, and then seeing them try to match it out and make this like a seamless thing. Watching all this, incredible experience. As a K-pop fan, incredible.
Yeah, you get to watch your favorite artists perform the title track multiple times.
Multiple times. I get to see how they adjust things. I get to see them monitor themselves.
Yeah, and as somebody who was a film major,
Yeah.
who does videos, makes videos, interested in making videos, it's a super cool experience just seeing the production.
Yeah. And to me, and maybe I'm biased, but I feel like Korean live performances are way better produced than you see in Western media. Whatever you see on the Today Show or SNL or anything like that, I feel, in my opinion, what you see on Music Bank, what you see on M Countdown, what you see at Mama, stuff like that, I think it's a step above. So getting to see the top notch, how they do it, the knowledge is invaluable.
The last thing we also got a chance to do was on the day of a comeback, usually a group will have some kind of event, a showcase. In this particular situation, Stacy had a special showcase event for their fans, and we got to experience it. We were lucky enough to win the raffle. We bought enough albums and got in. What was that experience like?
First of all, I think we had to temper our expectations, right? At first, we thought it was a fan sign. We thought it was going to be this, maybe that. It turned out to be a lot more chill of an event, right? They came out, they talked to the fans, they sat down, they talked about the songs, they talked about the music video, like behind the scenes stories. They played some games, they did some of the dance challenges for us. You know, very chill, very casual experience. And while it wasn't what we expected it to be when we first kind of heard about it, looking back, I'm super grateful that it's something we experienced. I don't think many fans get to see their favorite artist in that kind of environment. When you see your favorite artist, it's usually at a concert, right? So they're performing, they're saying a speech, they're at a fan sign. So, you know, very locked in on you, very intense 1 minute there, right? So the girls are sitting back, they're laughing, they're not performing, right? They're just relaxing together, they're talking together, they're laughing together. And so looking back, I'm super grateful to just spend that time with Stacy.
Yeah, it was a super cool moment.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you know, like every moment with Stacy is precious, right?
Exactly.
And like you mentioned, it's not a concert, definitely not a music show where it's all professional mode.
Yeah, which we did see. Like,
right. Fan sign, like you said, it's very focused on particular people. They were just having fun.
They were just having fun. There was a moment when Seon, one of the members, like she was trying to tell a story and she just could not stop laughing. And she just kept trying. You know, they weren't worried about timing or just moving on to the next thing. They just let her go and she just kept like she just could not get the story out. And that was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, like for 5 minutes, just she kept laughing.
I loved it. Like you said, every moment is precious.
Yeah. I mean, we had an incredible trip. A lot of amazing moments, from sightseeing moments, visiting the airport, going to birthday cafes, running into idols on the street, in the theme parks, going to music shows, having events for our ultimate group, Stacy. I'd say it was a pretty successful trip.
I would say it was beyond what I could have imagined. Even though, you know, the comeback timing and everything, it was beyond what I could have even predicted.
So let's get into 10 years ago today. I knew this was going to be a long episode, so I wanted to keep the topics for today short, because there's one really big topic that happened 10 years ago today. On March 19th of 2015, Cube Entertainment would debut the brand new girl group CLC. In fact, just a couple days ago, CLC had their 10-year anniversary, and the members, 6 of them, reunited and had some great photos together. Great event. We've talked about CLC a little bit before. Personally, I'm not actually a big CLC fan, but I think you are.
Yes. First of all, I can't believe they debuted 10 years ago. Yeah, I feel like it's one of those groups that they grew on me over time. So I don't know if it was one moment that really hooked me in, or I think it was just over time. I really like their songs. The members are funny. They're cool. And it's one of those groups where you get frustrated at Cube Entertainment. A lot of people voice their frustrations about Cube and how they handle their artists and things like that. And I think CLC is one of those artists that get brought up. However, seeing the content that you mentioned. They were uploading on each other's channels. Mostly it's all together. That warms my heart. But I did not know that you were not that big of a fan.
Yeah, I just don't really enjoy a lot of their music. I can't even list 3 songs that I would recommend. But do you have 3 songs you would recommend?
Yes. Like always, if you gave me the chance, I would have started listing a bunch of songs, right? But I'll list 3 that kind of pop in my head. One is I Like That. It's one of their early songs. The performance video is really nice. It's just a really good song. The next one is called Devil. I don't know how to explain how this song sounds. The way I explain it, it's kind of trotty. It's a little trotty sounding.
You mean like the Korean genre trot?
The Korean genre trot. Yeah, it's got a traditional Korean feel to the melody of it. And that's why I love it so much. It's so different from all their other songs. And the last one is one of their last songs, if not their last song together. And that's called Helicopter. I just really like that song. I love the performance. And that's probably like one of my last memories of them all together, which is probably plays a big part of it.
So I'm going to give a bit of a contrasting take here.
Okay.
I did like Helicopter.
Okay.
But the lyrics are pretty bad. And I actually watched almost all of the music show performances of that song.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't like how they performed it. I
Okay.
thought it was a little bit lazy.
Okay.
I don't think that they were great performers. And it really turned me off of CLC.
It's been a while since I've seen the performances, so I can't really argue that.
I'm speaking very generally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to name names.
Okay.
And I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. Fair enough.
I will recommend 2 songs, though, that I think are amazing songs, amazing K-pop songs. No by CLC,
No, yeah.
produced by Jun Soyeon of Idol fame,
Yes, of course.
well-known producer, singer, rapper, songwriter,
Yes. Extraordinaire.
extraordinaire, and Black Dress,
Black Dress, yes.
probably my favorite song from them,
Mhm.
and also my favorite concept from them.
No, that's a really good one. This is what I like. You know, you say you're not a big fan of the group, but you can still appreciate some of the members. You got songs that you like. You know what I mean?
Hey, good music is good music.
Yeah, that's what I like. That's kind of conversation I enjoy.
I'm sure we'll get into more CLC in the future on another episode. You know, they're a still pretty active group, relatively speaking. And I'm sure, there's going to be another occasion why we're going to talk about CLC. So we'll leave it at that. 10 years ago today, on March 19th of 2015, Cube Entertainment would debut a new girl group named CLC. Today, we recapped our time in Korea, gallivanting around Seoul, and all the escapades that came along with it. Justin, are you ready to go back home?
Again, my body needs to go home, but my mind still wants to stay. Not just for Stacy, but just to keep experiencing more and more things. Get more gelato, get more tanghulu, one more salt bread. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little bit sad. Again, this is the longest I've ever stayed in Korea. Been a crazy 5 weeks.
Yes.
I'm definitely ready to go home. It's been a long time here, but I am a little bit sad. I'm a little bit sad because it's just so fun. And it's like saying goodbye to fun. But like if you lived here, it wouldn't be fun.
No, we would have other stresses on our minds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I guess as advice for you, as advice for me, as advice for anybody who's going on vacation and coming back home, just remember you have to have contrasting times to really appreciate the good times.
Yeah.
Right? So we got to go back home, work hard, make enough money, come back to Korea.
Yeah.
So would you come back to Korea?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if the trip is closer than we think, whatever we think that is. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we pretty much stayed in Seoul for the entirety of this 5 weeks. And, we did go outside a little bit, but for the most part, it was just Seoul. Is there anywhere else that you really want to go?
The immediate ones that come to mind, I think Jeju Island has got to be something we experience one day, or you experience again. Busan, I hear great things about the food. It's right by the water, if I'm remember correctly. And you know what? I'll throw Pohang in there. Stacy Sumin's hometown. Why not? Let's see where she grew up.
In the middle of nowhere.
Gonna be beautiful.
Are there any lessons that you learned on this trip that maybe you'll take away for the next one?
There are a lot of things actually. I need to bring way more cash than I think I need next time, just in case. The shoes I'll bring next time, probably a little different than the shoes I brought this time, knowing how much walking there is. Preventative health measures, the vitamin C every day, take the convenience store stuff that you recommended, lots of hand sanitizer. We talked about this earlier, but I'm going to try to commit a lot more of those Korean phrases that I know I'll have to pull out at some point. And yeah, it's just little things like that.
Out of all the things that we've done, is there any that you really want to do again? And if there's anything that you didn't get a chance to do that you really want to do in the future?
Latte World might be fun again. It was so fun last time.
Most definitely.
Got to do Latte World again. Spend another day there. I think next time we're going to be a lot more relaxed, maybe. We're not going to have such a list of things to get through. So we'll be able to kind of breathe in Seoul a little more, spend a little more time just in this place or that place. I want to revisit the gelato place. I want to revisit the burger place. Got to revisit all the places that we like to eat. And one thing we didn't really get to do that I want to experience next time, maybe the nightlife in Gangnam this time or Itaewon, right? I know from what I hear, from what you tell me, the nightlife experiences in those places very different than Hongdae, right? What we experience. So that's probably a big one. And one more thing just to end it off. I know I had an opportunity this time, but experience like a big concert here in Korea as well.
Awesome. I'm hoping we get a chance to do all those things and more next time we're in Korea.
Yes.
Thanks again for joining me, Justin. Thank you for your time. Do you have any final thoughts?
I was saving this for our final goodbyes at the airport where we part ways, but this is also a chance to kind of immortalize this in podcast form. So I have a lot of thank yous to send out once I get home. But man, Ellis, my brother, this trip was everything I hoped it was and so much more. And without Ellis, without you, my first time in Korea would be a shell of how good it turned out. Nowhere near as fun, nowhere near as educational and informative. The whole time he was explaining to me things on the subway, how this works. If the shop has a clever name, right? You're breaking it down. I'm not even asking you to do so, but you do it anyway. You're telling me interesting facts about this place, that place. Just yesterday, he was breaking down Gangnam for me. Like I said, it's a big place, right? And there's a lot of history in the different areas of it. So he was explaining that, what they are now, what they used to be. If he's reading a sign or something, I don't have to ask him to translate it. He'll just turn around and tell me what it says, right? And if not just straight information, he's telling stories about his first experiences with something in particular, how much things have changed, why things are the way they are. He's showing us proper ways to do things. He got me medicine while I was sick. Even one of our Korean friends was like, how does Ellis even know to get that? I was like, dude, I don't know. Okay, I don't know, but it works. Only a Korean would think to get that, right? I also had a goal this year to take more pictures and document things, especially of myself, not just of my perspective of things. And Ellis was a big help with that. He was always willing to help, take pictures. He always made sure he got a lot. He made sure I was happy with them before he moved on. I tried to return the favor. And this wasn't just my Korea trip, right? This was his Korea trip as well. Not just my birthday, it was his birthday. So he's doing all this, trying to make sure I'm having a good time, trying to make sure everybody else is having a good time. He's always asking if I was having fun when it's just as much his trip. So I know every day he's like, what else is on your list? What else is in your list? He's making sure I'm doing everything I want to do. I can go on and on, right? But man, I want to say thank you for all of it. I appreciate it so much, more than I can put into words. And I know that there have been a lot of words just now, right? But man, one of our friends, Nathan, pulled out some pictures of KCON premiere in 2022 just yesterday, where we met in Chicago. And I'm just so grateful we both happened to be at that counter in that moment, man. So yeah, thank you for making this special.
Hey man, you made this trip special for me too. Couldn't have done it without you. Couldn't have done it without any of the other guys. Without any one of the six of us, this trip wouldn't have been the same. Appreciate all your words. And yeah, thank you.
I'm glad to hear it.
That's all for today, Friday, March 21st, 2025. This has been Diaries of an MZ Generation, hosted by Ellis Tan and Justin Lee. This is a production of Selective Hearing and is a part of the Selective Hearing network of podcasts, edited by Ellis Tan and Greg Abesamis. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.